Alrighty then, and welcome back to Space Empires 5 with our Acedonians, the Acedonia Imperium. And just before I started this, I went through and made sure I hadn't missed anything, and for the most part, I had not. See, here we got... Yep, this is the warp point that we're working on defending. And we've got some of our colonizer ships moving out. We've got this one broken down ship that got nailed with an asteroid or something and knocked out its engines. But other than that, we're ready to end another turn and move on. And for the most part, I hadn't really forgotten anything. There's just a few items I went ahead and added to some building queues in the colonies. One of them I hadn't started building any facilities on yet. A couple of others I just went ahead and put in some... Oh, you know, just like, I'll show you after our ships finish moving. So we got the new colony there. Like, I think over here was one of them. Yeah, I went ahead and I took a look, and you know, something like 69%, it's not very good production value. 95 isn't too bad. Usually 100 or more is what you really want to aim for, but you also don't really want these in the negative down here. This is their net production over the course of every turn. Now, obviously, the way this game works, you know, each individual planet, it's not like if you run out of organics or have it in the negative that you're not producing food or something. It's not quite that in depth. I kind of prefer it this way. It's a little bit more of an overview rather than worrying about all the little tiny micromanagement stuff that just, to me, that gets so tedious. So really, all you have to make sure is that your minerals, organics, and radioactives are positive every turn. And right now we're doing just fine. We're producing 130,693 minerals, 94,702 organics, and 106,261 radioactive. That's our total after expenditures. We're still pulling down 84,000 and change on minerals, 69,000 and change on organics, and 95,000. We're actually doing really good on our radioactives right now. But as I said in the first video, temporal weapon-based empire, or you know, a racial, or an empire with a racial trait of temporal technology or temporal manipulative abilities, the technology to manipulate time-space, is pretty radioactive resource heavy. So research-wise, we're working on physics real hard right now to get shields. Still doing some research there into the temporal technology, which will be consistent throughout the entire game, really. We're still pushing some research into the new engines to improve those. A lot of research going into applied research, and a bit of improvement moving forward on our mineral extraction. Probably before too much longer, and of course we've got a tiny bit of research going into temporal weapons. Before too much longer, we're going to go ahead and shift focus, maybe not right after physics, because we'll want to go ahead and get some shields researched. We'll probably take that 22%, maybe leave, we'll probably just take the whole 22% and shove it into shields for a little bit. But after that, we'll probably be researching some weaponry a little bit harder. Probably not temporal weaponry right off the bat, because that is expensive and time consuming. Because it's so expensive. Let's see. Yeah, 90,000. Well, we shove that whole 22% in there. We'll get a couple 3 levels fairly quickly. Not real fast, but not too bad. Because the reason why we'd want to do that is because I told you what I spent the a big technology boost on right at the start. You know, being able to colonize any kind of planet. To me, that's useful because the more colonies you have, the more you're producing. And eventually you can research tech to terraform them into your atmospheric type, which allows you to turn any of them into even more useful colonies, or full-size colonies. You know, I forget the exact number of tech per, because we've also got that racial trait of the 20% boost to our facilities. I think it's 10,000. It goes up to 12,000. So this one is a small gas giant. So generally speaking, it's a small colony. I think has about 10. Tiny has, I think, 5 when it's your atmosphere. Tiny with the wrong atmosphere, I think, only has 1 or 2 facility spaces, but it goes up to 5 when it's the same atmosphere. We'll be able to see over here with this one when we colonize it. That's a rock one. And huge goes all the way up to... See, these are the home worlds are only large, and they have 24. Huge, I think, goes up to... I want to say it goes up to 36, keeping that 10, 20, 30 thing, and then we have that 20% boost. Something like that. And I don't think we have any huge ones that are the correct. There's a rock that's huge, one that's huge, but it has no atmosphere. Let's see, that's tiny. That one's tiny, gas giant. Tiny ice. Small ice. Small rock. Large ice, that'll be a good one. And we still don't know what, I think it's probably last or second to last warp point here, because there's like 1 or 2 more. I know there's at least 1, obviously, so we need to get past this point and see what's there. So let's just go ahead and see if anybody can move, or doesn't have orders, I just say, in another turn here. But, so going back to the original point about why we need to move into military spending some more, is that, you know, I explained my choices for what I spent that technology on. I have no idea what the computer spent it on. They could have, you know, one of them could have just jacked their military, you know, their weaponry and ships and stuff through the roof right off the bat, which means we'd be, right now, financially, resource-wise, because I put a lot of it into resources, research-wise we're really good, resource-wise we're really good, our capability of expansion, phenomenal, militarily, weak. So this is one of those things that I like doing it this way because it gives you rock solid infrastructure right from the beginning, right from the outset. Whereas if you go with a whole bunch of military spending, you're going to end up with a lot of really fancy stuff and nothing to support it with. Basically, because you wouldn't have the resources to use all that stuff on your new ships that you can build. You'd go bankrupt before you could ever conquer anything. But at the same time, one really expensive ship can make a huge difference. You know, even if it's the only ship that they can afford because it's so expensive from all the high tech on it, it can still completely obliterate your entire empire in no time because you have no way to stop it. And yes, as the title of the video, which my plan is to call this one Whiskey Punch in Space Empires 5, is because I've got my whiskey punch here. It's Hawaiian punch with whiskey. Try it sometime. It's good. It's nice. Maybe it depends on how much, how strong you want it, but I usually go for maybe a shot of whiskey in a good sized cup full of the Hawaiian punch. You get the mix right, and it's absolutely perfect. You can hardly taste the whiskey in it. Well, you can taste it, but whiskey, it really does go together well. And I like to use, I can't afford expensive whiskey. I'm drinking Black Velvet at the moment. And if anyone from the company that makes Black Velvet Canadian whiskey would like to send me a freebie for the plug, by all means do so. Yeah, right. So let's just go ahead and blow through another turn. Screw it. We're just waiting for ships to get places at the moment. We don't really need to build anything. We're just waiting for things to get done, so kill a few turns. Alrighty. And nobody can move, so let's just go ahead and go through another turn. I know there's not a whole lot going on early on. It's just one of those games. It's just like any other Civi Builder strategy game like this. You have to blow through turns early on just to get anything accomplished. Later on, there'll be things to take care of every turn, but right now we're just waiting for ships to get places and, waiting for things to happen. Such is life. Okay, so we still don't have anybody that can just stop. That's our repair ship. This is a rock colonizer. Yes, we could go ahead and do a little bit of shipbuilding right quick and make a, as I say, pointed out, we could stand to have a bit of military tech going on here. So let's just start with a bridge, life support, crew quarters here. There we go. Get some supply on that. Don't remember how many engines one of these things can. I think it's probably 4. And we don't need these things to be super fast, so we'll go ahead and just do 3. We'll go ahead and we'll just do some light armor. Go ahead and do temporal sensors, combat sensors. That still leaves us 30 tons, which is not very much, but we do have our time distortion burst temporal weapon here, which does quadruple damage to shields. So we can only really afford one of those on it, unless we can go ahead and get rid of some of this armor and stick a second on, because this is just a light defense ship. Just something so we have some sort of a presence on that one warp point. So, as you see here, pretty high mineral cost, but also a really high radioactives cost, because like I showed you here, let's see, the cost on this is 220 radioactives on the time distortion burst there, and then the temporal sensor is actually higher on mineral cost, but also 500 resource cost compared to the regular sensor basic. Of course, that's a level 1, but it's also 250, so from 200 minerals, 50 radioactives. So pretty clear difference there. See, strategy for this one. What's the range on these things? Not very good. But we'll probably go max range on it. Type is just a ship attack small. This is more of a defense ship. Defense small. And we can give it a name. And Challenger's not a bad name. Choker, I kind of like Choker. So we'll create that right there. And we can go in the space simulator over here right now and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And just so you can actually see some combat here, we can take a look at some combat here. So we've got, okay, that's right. So we've basically, all we've got here is alrighty, so we've just got 5 groups here, and they are just right next to each other, so let's hit play and watch them destroy each other. And we can just jack up the speed, because now they're too far away from each other to do anything. And really, this isn't much of a strategic fighting thing. Really, the way you do it is you just have your 2 forces, and then they fight each other, and whoever really it's really all about who has the bigger guns. Bigger guns and better defenses. Really, I mean, there's not much strategy to it. Not a bad thing. It's just, it is what it is. So 66% damage, 0% damage, 46% damage, 66, 34, 62. So since this one managed to come out with just one ship that, or they managed to come out with one ship that had no damage whatsoever. I guess that means that what was it? Yeah, blue. Yeah, the blue team won that particular engagement. Our little simulation there. Alrighty, so This is where we've got that, and we've just colonized here, and I pretty much forgot about getting this thing set up. So space yard, resupply depot, spaceport, because we don't have, well, yeah, we do. And I'm already building all three there, so we don't really need spaceport or resupply depot. Well, no, this is our system where we're going to have our choke point. So actually, a couple of resupply depots, extra ones, is a good idea here. Because if you end up with a lot of engagements going on, then it's just a really good idea to have the extra supply depots. Because they can each one can only generate 10,000 supplies each turn and 5,000 ordnance. So if your ships go past that point and you only have one in the system, no, that's at the facility. In the entire system, it can only distribute up to 2,500 supplies and 1,000 ordnance. So it really doesn't take that much to go past that point, especially at the higher levels of play. Of course, we'll have better supply depots down the line, too, to go with our better ships. But this way, we know everybody that comes through this sector, this system, is going to get supplied. So, let's see. Really abysmal stats on every fucking trait. Doesn't that fit here? So this one, my rule of thumb is usually anything below about 60% isn't worth it. You're going to end up losing. I mean, later down the line, we have technologies that can improve these stats, and our minor facilities to get each of the resources. It's like mines, farms, and like extractors or whatever. But we can do some radioactive stuff here. Go ahead and get the collider. That'll boost it up over 100%, and then get about 6 of them. When using these collider, the boosting ones here, because like I said, this is by 10%. These early on, like this point, it's such a minor improvement that, I mean, it's almost not worth it to get them early on. It really, in a lot of ways, it simply isn't. But, because at only a 10% boost, you'd have to have 10 of the damn things to actually make having this on the planet as efficient as just getting one more extraction facility. The thing, of course, is that over time, this goes up to 50%, in which case the boost is way better than that. It's 50% over 10%, and you only would have to have 2. Every third facility is giving you extra resource production, basically. That didn't sound quite right. It's like if you have 2 on at 50% with 2, that's the equivalent of a third one. Getting a third one boosts it up even further. So I think I'm making myself clear. It's just It's just that overall, over time, these things become a hell of a lot more useful, and then much later we'll be able to get one that affects the entire system and also boosts up to 50%. But I mean, right now there's really no point to getting it other than this way I don't forget about it later. And over time, like I've said, it will improve and gradually increase the output for all of them. You can get storage things if you want. I usually just use those to fill up space on planets if I just don't have anything else I want to get on them. I think we need to... don't really need intelligence right now, but again, it's just about having it there so I don't forget about it later on and end up with no intelligence resources when we first encounter our next race of the next empire, the next race that we'll be dealing with, and they can use their intelligence assets to try and affect us. This way, just have it there in case we need it later. So that's 5 research centers. That's going to be producing another 750 research points each, which is nice. So I think we can go ahead and go through another turn here. Have a little sip on my drinky poo. Whiskey Punch and Space Empires 5. And I'll probably start sticking more to around 30-40 minutes on these episodes, because I know this is kind of a dry game. It doesn't have a bunch of combat. It's more about, you know, building up the empire and building your civilization and stuff. It's not really the most exciting playthrough type of game. But, you know, we all have things we enjoy, and for those of you who enjoy these kinds of games, I'm sure you're, you know, getting something out of this, I would hope. If nothing else, it doesn't hurt me to put the video up. And if you want to watch it, you can watch it, and if you don't want to, then you're not even going to hear what I'm saying, so there's no point in me saying it anymore. Ha 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 ha. Alrighty, how far away are we off from our physics completion? 2 turns. Can anybody move? Nope. Blow through another turn. So yeah, exciting stuff on the AZW video front. Got some mods in effect on the game, allowing me to actually have an AZW arena, working on using some codes that'll allow me to bring you better matches, so the AI isn't quite as lopsided. The matches, that's the real problem with the game I used to do it, No Mercy, is that the AI is really good, but it's like I have a feeling that it's got like some pre-programmed I want to say like scripts that it sticks to for AI versus AI matches, and it's like sometimes it will give you the most almost realistic back and forth really great matches that, you know, I could say that if I was running a real promotion, I'd put that match out in front of people at a show. But then a lot of times it will just give you these lopsided squash matches that, you know, if that's what you're looking for a storyline or something, fine. That works. Because I do have some story angle things some storylines that I'm working with on that. But a lot of the time, I just want a good match to put on the video. And sometimes it can be such a pain in the ass. I mean, there's been times when I've had to record matches like 5-6 times just because it would not give me something I could use. So using these codes, I think, really will be able to start putting out a lot better matches consistently without... Well, I mean, obviously, I'm going to get you a good match. You don't know about all the back-end crap that I have to do, except for when I tell you about it, like just there. But it'll make things easier on me, and I think in the end, it'll produce a hell of a lot better matches for you guys that watch AZW. So we finished our physics research, and we have a new colony. We've opened up a couple of new weapon technologies we might want to pursue. And we've got shields finally. So let's go ahead and go there. And physics, we can also research some other weapons, but we're not going to mess with that right now. We're going to go down here to, where are you, shields? Right here. 22%. Plug in right away on everything else. Pretty good. See that energy stream weapons and energy pulse weapons, right? Or focused energy weapons. No. No, it was energy pulse weapons. So, Meson Blaster and Anti-Proton Beam. Never really had much use for those. I prefer the more straightforward weapons. For the most part. I like the temporal weapons because they always have interesting effects. Like the one does 4 times damage to shields, and the missile, I believe, does 4 times damage to armor. Let me... burns armor. Yeah. So it doesn't do 4 times damage, it just it burns away the armor. Good range on those too. Just can't really afford, because they take up 50 kilotons of space, so can't afford a ship. I don't have a ship big enough to hold those yet, but those are a really good early weapon, because just one hit off of one of those things really messes a ship up. But you also need enough space to put on some secondary weapons, because they're not as efficient on actually destroying the ship. They're good at destroying the armor. So you want some backup weapons that can actually take out the ship. So do we have any... Nope. Let's go back to news. And this is a large ice world. This, yep, 24,000 kilotons of space. Woo-wee. And we don't have anything else in this system so far, other than our little buddy here that's damaged. Soon to be repaired, hopefully. So we can go ahead and do the space yard, resupply depot, if you prefer, spaceport. What kind of stats does this one have? Not very good on any of them. Radioactives is the lowest, but if I go ahead and use that collider, that'll get it up a bit better. Not too bad on the other two, so we'll go ahead and stick in all 3 of these. And 3 of each of those. We'll go ahead and do some of those. Yeah, we don't have to worry about that. I think that's good for now. I don't think that's all of the space on it, but that's a good start. 8 turns for that facility to get done, but then that'll speed up everything else. How are we doing on our resources production? Still pretty good. Haven't really pushed out beyond our means too much yet, and for the most part we won't have to worry about that. That's kind of the strategy I like to use, is kind of not too aggressive and not too conservative either. It's not turtling up entirely, because we're expanding out quite fast in terms of colonizing, but like I said, I like being able to turtle up on using a choke point warp system. Okay. So we can go ahead and in another turn, so we can finally get that repair ship there and get some repairs enacted on our poor little buddy that's been stranded out there for ages now. Hopefully, here pretty quick we'll be able to finally see what's in that next area. Got some more resource production stuff developed there. And just let that go. So that should get that ship repaired, and then we can keep it moving along. And I should have canceled its orders. It's probably going to go ahead and colonize that planet, because I forgot to tell it to not do that after discovered it was totally had no movement at all. But that's okay. That gives us a presence in this system now, even though it's not very good at only 4,800 kilotons, which is just enough for space yard, depot, and port. Any resource production here, radioactive is not bad. But just so later on we can go ahead and put on that tech that allow the facility that terraforms. We'll leave that 4th spot open. And next turn we'll be able to, let's go ahead and actually get this sucker moving up here too. You can go through. Oh, also next turn. We can go ahead and finally see what the hell is behind warp point number 2, 3, whatever is there. Been waiting to see what's on the other side of that warp point for a while. I just hope it's not another fucking empire. They got put in a weird spot, because it doesn't always obey those starting points. And we have Tech 1 in shields. Tech level 1 in shields. We got some new stuff build. Yep, and that was the last one. So we can go ahead and move this one out here and see where everything is. Move this one. Cancel those orders. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You go ahead and move over there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Go ahead and get the entire thing examined, revealed, censored, sensed, whatever you want to call it, and go ahead and, after we've seen what this sector slash system looks like, it's a system, star system, we'll go ahead and call this an episode. And unfortunately, one small ice world. There's a rock. There is a huge rock planet we can colonize. It's a huge ice planet. And we'll go ahead and end the turn and allow that to happen. Might have to end more than one. Guess we can go ahead and put some more research into shields, maybe get level 2 shields. Go ahead and go a little bit longer on the episode. Finish this out, what we've been working on here for our civilization. Yeah, we won't colonize that till next turn. And I guess since we don't have anything else, and I believe we made this ship to have some, the equalizer has, you know, some weaponry on it. Yeah, just a bit of weaponry. So we can go ahead and start sending our buddy here down here to kind of act as our garrison force alongside the miner ship there. Go ahead and end another turn. And next episode, what we're going to do is some real aggressive colonization and start filling in all those planets that are just sitting there ripe for the taking. For now, we're just kind of solidifying our presence through these star systems, making our mark. Got the new colony there, so this is a huge rock one, so we have 6,000 even though kilotons of space, even though it is not the right atmosphere. So organics is pretty strong on this one. What about the other two? Not great on either of the others. So for now, I think I'll just go ahead and stick in one organic farm. That'll leave a couple of spots open for new techs down the line. Go ahead and I'll save one more, or go one more turn, and then end the episode. And then, like I said, next turn we'll be doing some big time colonization. Maybe we'll come up with a long range scout ship to send out to scope out and see what everybody else is doing and go exploring a little bit. Ooh, we've got level 6 in temporal technology, so we've got better temporal sensors now. We can upgrade our ships for those. Probably won't do it. We don't really need the upgrades on them yet. Wait until we have some other stuff to upgrade to. Couple of new radioactive extraction facilities, another resupply depot built. Excellent. Where are we at with our shield? Another 3 turns on shields. Only 4 turns away from our improved engines. That's good. Long way off on a new advancement in temporal tech. But of course, all of this stuff will improve. Our time frames will improve. 1.3 years, that's 13 turns for applied research improvement. Quite a long ways off on some of these other improvements. Way the hell out on the temporal weapons, 42 turns at current expenditure, but as I said, with all those research facilities we're going to be building, that's going to boost. Like I said, each one is 750, so that's going to, once those start really getting built, that'll be a significant improvement. In fact, I'd even go so far as to say something we could do right quick before I finish this turn is, let's see, what are we producing the most of here? We're actually overproducing on radioactives, because I got a little overzealous early on. So let's go ahead and go to one of our home worlds here. We can go ahead and get rid of a couple of these radioactives facilities. Wait. Yeah. That's the home world. And that freed up space, and we can throw in some more research centers. Gonna have to be careful on minerals. We really need to find some good sources of mineral production before too much longer, probably. But that, of course, is what all of these planets here will be helpful with. Although, unfortunately, because of the limitations of them having the wrong atmospheres, it's a little bit more difficult. But we still have our mining operations going, pulling in a little bit of extra resources. Fortunately, I think the asteroids actually reduce in their ability to provide you with resources over time, so you have to kind of keep moving your ships around. There's another huge rock planet. Good values on all of them. Large gas giant. It's a medium gas giant. Large ice world. Abysmal stats on resources there. Hey, what do you know? It's an Earth-type planet. Medium, rocky, oxygen atmosphere. Not very good resource value there either. Go ahead and build a mineral facility there just because we're really low on mineral, or we're negative production on minerals there, so that should give us some extra mineral production. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and save it. And we'll call that an episode. So thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Don't forget to hit that like button, leave your comments, and share the video with your friends that you think might enjoy this sort of stuff, or forums and whatnot, websites for strategic gameplay, or games if you think somebody there might enjoy it. So I'll see you later. Bye.